Trying to focus on the task at hand here. That is obviously, once again, just providing more evidence. And I have like pages of evidence today to the claim. Well, it's not even a claim anymore. That nobody works. We talk about it almost every day on this channel. You could literally make a movie of the bad beats that I have to deal with every single day. It's mind-blowing stuff, man. It is mind-blowing stuff. So, I mean, you guys know everything that's happened to me the last few days, right? Preseason, right? The 2 injuries yesterday. Like, and I'm even forget. Everything's like blending together. I'm like, oh, what happened this day? Oh, I had 4 injuries this day. Oh, I had this player randomly just not play. Like, it's just like, it all blends together because it happens so much, man. Close to 20 injuries in the summer league. Still massively profitable. And then tonight, man, okay, so I'm going to start with the player prop stuff, man. I went 17-4 on my underdog plays today. And just look at this, man. Like, you have to look at it. Look at this. Okay? Look at that. We'll talk about the Ravens quarterback situation in a sec here with my Draftkings lineup. Because, oh boy, man. Oh, the stuff that I witnessed in that Ravens game. Like, it's the stuff that you can put in a movie. It really, really is. So I apologize. If you don't want to see the tilt, I would say fast forward 5 to 10 minutes because we have a lot of stuff that's probably more than 10 minutes. This is going to be a little bit of a longer tilt, man. It's incredible. It's every day, and it's just like the stuff that I deal with, man. So let's just talk about this. Take Josh Johnson under because, there's supposed to be 3 quarterbacks playing. And then, I don't know, 20 minutes before this game starts, we knew he's taking snaps under center with the starters. So I'm thinking, okay, well, Huntley's not playing. They're going to play 2 quarterbacks. I get screwed. Johnson gets a full half, throws a touchdown, and hooks me. Wouldn't have touched this prop had we known that, right? Brutal hook from Josh Johnson to cost me $500. Now, I still won, $125 in the slip, but lost out in like $400. You think that might be all right? Absolutely not. Here's door number 1. Here's door number 2. Sam Ehlinger, touchdown called back. Put it on the board. Cost me another $400. Okay. Yeah. Yay. Again, you think that's it? You think that's it? Look at this. Look at this. The Jags. They have 6 running backs. They play 6 running backs. And for absolutely no reason, Dearness Johnson just decides to break off a long run. I mean, come on. All said is under on Prize Picks. Prize Picks don't even get me started there. I had Tier McCowan over fantasy score, easily on pace to go over. Barely plays in the first half and second half because of massive foul trouble. And then I have unders. I hit my 2 quarterback plays in Prize Picks. I have the unders on these 2 Jags backs. The 2 Jags backs that take both break off long runs when they have 6 running backs that played, man. Talking about, I'm saying a little bit crazy here, right? You just cannot look at these slips and say that anyone runs worse after all the events that have happened to me over the last couple of months. Like, just look at this. This right here on these 3 slips alone, that's like $1,500 I lost out on. And you think that's one more? Another slip with Josh Johnson. There's another $300, and that's down the drain. I didn't win anything on that because that was a power play. Like, look at it, man. Like, look at this. I still won about $1,000 today with all those bad beats. With all those bad beats. If I didn't get those horrific beats, that's another $2,000 in profit. Would have profited like $3,000 today on Underdog. But I just run into the most awful beats ever, right? With stupid Ravens, we'll talk about with my quarterbacks here. But these are my slips, right? I hit like at 17-4 in my Underdog plays. 17-4. Just look at it, man. Some of these lines were insane. Laviska Shenault had a receiving line prop at 37.5. And this is why I started playing on Underdog, because Prize Picks like isn't posting anything on the board. If they're not going to post, Underdog has like everything. I'm just nuking stuff in Underdog, right? Ellinger TD called back. I had another Ellinger slip here too, right? One of the only few misses that wasn't a hook was Mason Kinsey. That was one. I think that was the only miss today for me that wasn't a hook. Was Mason Kinsey, who played a lot longer than I thought. And that was today. The CTR one was yesterday, which I don't regret at all. But those are my slips today on Underdog, right? See, you see though? You see why I'm losing my mind? I have to deal with these bad beats every single day. And you think that might be all from the player prop side? Well, let me talk about some Draftkings. How about that? About this, right? End of the game, Titans Bears. What I need is the game to just end, man. Anything but a defensive, anything but a fumble recovery or an interception, I win $300. Oh, but Will Levis, he throws it right into the Bears' arms. And this guy passes me by like 0.2, cost me $300. About the chalk defense that I fade in the early slate. What a defensive touchdown for them. Yeah. I can't ever get lucky with my defense. No way. No way. Look at this too. Look, can we talk about this? Look at my lineup. I had 4 guys fumble the ball. This is preseason football. I had 4 of my, 8 players have a fumble. Malik Willis, fumble. Scott, fumble. Velus Jones, fumble. My low-owned tight end, Sternberner, 1 catch, offs it up. Puts the ball on the carpet. Any one of those guys doesn't fumble, and I'm $300 richer. This was. You think that is all? There's one more, and this threw me. I lost my mind, man. And when I saw this happen with the Baltimore Ravens, I literally went to go just stuff my face with Chipotle. Because you guys know that's what I do when I'm really, really upset. And yes, I got double chicken, and I slammed that bowl. After what happened, let me explain this to you. Just listen. Listen to this. Sit back. Enjoy a snack, maybe. Listen to this. Okay? The absolute fish, and I mean the fish, the slappies that keep Izzy Abanikanda at high ownership after we get the news right from the Jets that no one's inactive. Donovan Knight's in, Michael Carter's in. So I have Izzy Abanikanda. I'm talking about it on the Patreon stream. And I'm pivoting off him. And this is going to bite me because every time I make a pivot, some horrific variance happens. Right? So who do I pivot on to? I pivot on to Keaton Mitchell. What happens with Abanikanda? 15 touches or so for no reason with 5 running backs active. He got way more touches with 5 backs active than the Hall of Fame game when they only had 3. I pivot from chalk Abanikanda because I was bad chalk when they had 5 running backs available onto Mitchell. Abanikanda nukes, and Mitchell had a touchdown call back. 35-yard touchdown. Laundry on the field. It's coming back. It's coming back. There's one more, right? The Ravens. This is what I'm talking. This, man. This is what sent me to Chipotle. Oh my God. I was shaking. I was literally shaking at this. Okay? So for the Ravens, right, we get the news. Lamar Jackson's not playing. So they have three quarterbacks. Right? It's Huntley, who is very clearly far and away the quarterback two. And then you have like 58-year-old Josh Johnson, for some reason, is still playing football. And that's not really an over-exaggeration. Like, go look up how actually old he's probably close to 58 years old. He was in the XFL. He's been on 75 different NFL teams. And we get the news, right, that he's warming up with the starters. So just think about this logically, right? Any logical? See that? He's warming up with the starters. What does that mean then? Well, that means Tyler Huntley is not going to play their backup quarterback because the third string, dusty grandpa Josh Johnson, is warming up with the starters. So I see that news, and then I think, wait a second. Wait a second. Let's think about this logically, because that's what you have to do in these niche sports with stuff like this. Let's really think about this. Any reasonable person sees that news, sees the age of Josh Johnson, and the only other quarterback on the roster is what, like second, third year guy, Anthony Brown? You look at that, right? This is what I'm thinking, right? Josh Johnson, he's literally a grandpa. There is no need, and I mean no need, to play him a lot. Right? So what I'm thinking is, okay, you get 1 to 2 series from Josh Johnson, and the rest of the game for Anthony Brown. Right? I'm thinking, yes, man, this is such a big edge. Brown in the big tournament was 3% owned. I'm thinking he has the opportunity, right, to play 3 quarters plus, because that's all the indications. That's what it's indicating, right? Any reasonable person can look at that. You have 2 quarterbacks, one that is literally 40 plus years old, and the other guy that's like a second, third year guy. Why not just run Anthony Brown in the ground, play him 3+ quarters? So I pivot from Easton Stick, who of course gets a touchdown at the end of the half, finishes like 10 fancy points. I pivot from Easton Stick to Anthony Brown. So those are my 2 pivots today. I pivot from Izzy Abanikanda to Mitchell. Abanikanda nukes with 5 running backs, and Mitchell 35-yard touchdown callback. That was my first pivot. My second pivot, Easton Stick, 10 fantasy points, pivot to Anthony Brown, 0.7 fantasy points. Isn't that just delightful? So you might think, what the hell happened, DK? What happened? So the absolute dust ball of Josh Johnson, who is under an underdog in a lot of slips. And again, I wouldn't have touched that had I known this news that he was warming up the start. I wouldn't have touched that. He plays the whole half, and again, hooks me an underdog, cost me like almost $1,000 on the slip side, Josh Johnson, and hooks me there. I'm like at halftime, like, wow, I can't believe this dust ball just played the whole first half. But at least saving grace is that extremely mobile Anthony Brown, right? I get a whole half from him. That's what I'm gonna get full half from Anthony Brown. I have the game on my TV. Look at the second half. You want to know who came out and started the second half at quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens? It was Tyler Huntley. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? The clear backup, not starting, the very clear indication he's not going to play, starts the second half. And then listen to this. One of the very first plays that Huntley's in, he pulls a hammy, limping. He can't move. Waving off the coaching staff. Just literally can't move. Cannot move. Throws a touchdown while not being like something. Okay, he just wanted to finish that drive, and then he's coming out. He hits the bike. See Josh Johnson warming up, man. Huntley with the pulled hamstring in the preseason comes back out for another drive, another couple drives. He's literally limping around out there. This is meaningless football, and they put him back out there. I'm thinking an underdog. All right. I mean, this is just the most incredible run bat I've ever seen on Draftkings. I get a low on Anthony Brown, was a phenomenal play in tournaments, and I'm getting punished. I'm thinking, okay, he's just not going to play, right? So I'm at least going to get the DNP, an underdog. No way. Comes in with like 5 minutes to go. Throws a pick. They're up. They're still up. They just ground and pound the game, chew out the clock, and that's it. I go from thinking I'm going to get three plus quarters of Anthony Brown to half a quarter of just garbage time when they're ahead and this ground and pound the football. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? So there's just everything that I just showed you, right? And everything that's happened to me the last couple of days. It is not possible, man. Like, I'm literally losing my mind over here. Like, it's just like, what's going to happen tomorrow, right? What's going to happen tomorrow? Like, the most, like, absurd thing possible, probably. Like, I can't even, like, think. It's like something more absurd than the stuff that I witnessed with the Ravens today is going to happen to me. I'm going to make, like, a sharp pivot and just get completely punished for it. That's all I got. That's all the energy I got. I'm also exhausted. Since, like, 7 a.m. on my computer all day long with these props, DFS stuff. It's a lot, man. It is a lot. So try to get the energy to talk about this video, but let's now talk about this 2-game slate, guys. So if you are looking for more in-depth content, for player prop stuff, for DFS stuff, you can check my Patreon link down below. Also, the sponsor of the video, that would be Prize Picks. You can use the code DKDFS for 100% match up to $100. They do have preseason props, but again, I would recommend playing on an underdog, to be honest. Much better props over there. Yeah, if you're not on Prize Picks, use that code. And let's talk about the slate. So I actually do like this slate. It's an early slate. So after this video, I'm going to go to bed because I had to wake up and then start, looking at the board. The underdog board will probably be up pretty early. So got to make sure I'm up for that. But let's start with Kansas City, who you got just complete troll and Andy Reid. We know that, right? I'm just not buying it. Said the starter's going to play a quarter. I just don't buy it, man. He says this every preseason, and they play. Sometimes the starters don't even play. Sometimes they play like 3 snaps. It's just I'm not buying into it. Not doing it, Andy Reid. You think I hate Pete Carroll? Andy Reid is honestly a bigger. They're similar. They're similar trolls, Andy Reid and Pete Carroll, man. But I'm just not touching Patrick Mahomes. And with that being said, they have 3 other quarterbacks on the roster. No, thank you there. Now the running back position is where things get interesting, right? Isaiah Pacheco, he's injured. You got 2 vets in McKinnon and CEH. Been on this team for a while, right? We know starters not going to play much. So I don't think we see a ton from McKinnon, and I don't think we see a ton from CEH. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with 2 backs for the Chiefs. Generic Prince, their undrafted free agent, he's been playing well. Returner, and I think he's going to get a lot of work in this game. And the only other back is LaMichael Pirine. He's kind of just been a bench player in the NFL for years now. So Prince and Pirine, I like quite a bit. Now this is what I'm talking about. There's going to be some trolls tomorrow. So like we're all going to play Prince, and the Chiefs are going to give Jerick McKinnon like 25 carries or something, right? It's just something like that. It's going to happen, man. And you're going to see me really upset again if it does. If any bad beats happen to me tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. I cannot take anymore. Cannot. Yeah, Prince and Pirine, both really good plays in my opinion. Wide receivers, this is disgusting. So starters, well, Tony's not going to play, right? You got Sky Moore, you got MVS. Don't think those guys play. It still leaves like 12 other wide receivers. Like they have an insane amount of wide receivers. Smith Marset got banged up. I don't think he'll play. And then there was this early guy, wide receiver. He's also been practicing a bit with the running backs, just FYI. So that is a little bit interesting, right? Because if he gets, we know they're relatively thin at the running back position. If he gets some carries, we know wide receiver is a high variance position. If Early gets some carries, that's going to make him a pretty interesting option. So he's probably the guy I look to the most of these wide receivers, but everyone else I have a really hard time getting to. And then the tight end position. So again, we're not going to see more than like 1 series thing from Travis Kelce. Fortson's banged up; he's out. So you got 4 other tight ends: Noah Gray, Blake Bell, Blanton, and Bushman. I think Gray and Bell are a little bit interesting. I don't know, like, is Gray looped into those starters though? Because he does play a lot with the starters. Like last year, he was playing like 50% of the game. So I don't know about that. If you're worried about it, maybe look to like a Blake Bell. Yeah, let's move on to New Orleans. This is where I think you can get a pretty significant edge for New Orleans in both DFS and in the player prop stuff. Because we know we have very specific snap counts here. This is great stuff from the Saints. Great stuff. I wish more coaches would do stuff like this. We know the starters are going to play around 15 snaps. So that's what, like 1 to 2 drives. We got the second unit is expected to play 25 snaps. So that's probably what, 2 to 3 drives? And the third unit is expected to play the rest of the game. So the indications from me, again, probably first half split here with Carr and Winston. And then I think you get the second half here from Jake Haener. So Haener's a guy that I do like a good amount as a quarterback play. And then it's kind of the same thing with all these skill position players too. You kind of got to run through the depth chart. Well, okay, you got Kamara, you got Jamal Williams, right? First team, second team. Don't think these guys play a ton. Does Jamal Williams get looped in that first team? Does he get looped in the second team? I don't really know. But they don't have a ton of other options here. Benjamin's injured. You got a couple fullbacks here. Prentice and Vargas are fullbacks. So that just leaves 2 rookies, right? You got Miller and you got Merriweather. That I think will play a good chunk of the game here. So I'm really high on both these rookie running backs, Kendre Miller and Merriweather here. So really like both. For the wide receiver position, so and you look through the depth chart. So what, Olave, Michael Thomas, right? Those guys, I would say you loop into the first team. Then you got some injuries. You got Shaheed injured. You got Traquan Smith injured. And you got Kirk Merritt injured. So these guys probably not going to play. Olave Thomas get like one series. These guys probably not going to play. So that leaves not a ton of bodies here. Kiki Cutie got waived. He's not on the roster. So you think of the second unit, right? What is that second unit going to be? Well, probably A.T. Perry, their rookie, right? So I think he'll play a decent chunk and maybe play a little bit with the third string guys. You got Brian Edwards, and then you have Keith Kirkwood. So that's where I think probably the second unit is. And then the third unit, I think, will play a good chunk of the game. What would be these back end guys? You got Washington, Davis, Baker. You got John Trey Kirkland, XFL legend. He got banged up in the XFL, but he was really good in the XFL. He's at the very end of the depth chart, but he should get some work here in the second half. So definitely some interest in these wide receivers. Tight end position here for the Raiders. So they have a lot. This one's tough, man. This one's really, really tough. Okay, so you got James and Kroll that are both banged up. I don't think either play. Jesse James and Kroll. You got Juwan Johnson, Morrow, Taysom Hill, right? What order do they have them on here? I'm just curious on this depth chart. They have Johnson, then Hill, then Moreau, right? It's just like, okay, like this group of the first three guys are probably not going to play a ton. And then it doesn't leave many other guys. You have Dustball, Jimmy Graham, far down the depth chart. He actually might play a fair amount in this game. They signed him to a contract. He's 36 years old. I mean, we know he's a good pass catcher. He's dusty, but like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this tight end room. I really don't. And you also have JP Holtz. So like, it's tough. It's tough there for the New Orleans tight ends. All right, let's move on to San Francisco and the Raiders. So for the 49ers, I'm not expecting the starters to play. That's indications. They played a lot in their joint practices, so I'm not expecting these starters to play here for the 49ers. Sounds like Trey Lance is going to play close to the first half. So I think Trey Lance is most of the first half. Most of the first half with rushing upside. I think Trey Lance, again, it's right here. Purdy not expected to play. Most starters not expected to play. I think that makes Trey Lance a pretty good option, right? Because of his mobility. So if you get close to a whole half from Trey Lance, he stands out as a really solid quarterback play. And then you got Sam Darnold behind him and then Brandon Allen. I think Darnold probably gets a quarter to a quarter and a half, and then you probably just get mop-up duty for Brandon Allen. That's my guess there. All right, talking through the running back. So Christian McCaffrey, again, he's definitely with the starters. Elijah Mitchell, I think you probably loop in that group as well. So I don't think he'll play. Juszczyk's a fullback. Collato's a fullback. So you're kind of narrowing it down, right? You got Mason and TDP. I think those guys look pretty good. You got Laybourne, I think is solid. And then they did just sign Jeremy McNichols as well. Kind of another warm body there. So that would leave basically 4 running backs here for the 49ers. I think there's some other teams that are a bit shorthanded at the running back position. I think in that early game, right, with Kansas City and New Orleans, both teams more shorthanded, but still 4 running backs here, most likely for the 49ers. Not bad. So Mason, TDP, McNichols, Laybourne, all viable options. Wide receiver position. So I think that starting group would be Ayuk, Samuel, Juwan Jennings. Ray McLeod is out. And then Danny Gray also has been dealing with an injury. Don't think he'll play, but we'll monitor that. So then you're kind of crossing off some options here, right? So you cross off those top 3 guys. You cross off McLeod. Don't know if Gray plays. At least Conley, Bell, Snead, Martin, Newsome, and Winston. That's 6 receivers. You got Chris Conley's a vet, right? He's got to be pushing 30 years old at this point. Like, he's been around for a long time. So I think you get a lot of work for these back-end guys. Martin, Snead, rookie Ronnie Bell, Winston, Daz Newsome. I'm pretty high in this receiving core here for the 49ers. I think they're going to be pretty shorthanded here. I think probably the most shorthanded wide receiving core on this slate. And then talking through tight ends, Kittle, again, I don't think we'll play. They still have 5 other guys, though, so not a ton that they really love here for the 49ers. I guess if I had to play a tight end, it probably would be Ross Dwelly, but that's pretty gross. And finally, the Raiders. So Raiders, again, I'm expecting similar. I don't think we're going to see the starters here. So you got 3 quarterbacks, Brian Hoyer, O'Connor. So Garbers, this one, like they released him, then they signed him back. Don't know how much he's going to play in this game. I don't think we need to see a ton from Brian Hoyer either. So I think you see a lot of run for the rookie Aiden O'Connell. So I do like O'Connell. It's kind of uncertain how much exactly he's going to play because they do have 3 quarterbacks. So maybe they sit Hoyer too. I really don't think they need to see Brian Hoyer play in the preseason, right? So that could leave Aiden O'Connell playing, a half, maybe more. So he's definitely intriguing to me. Running back, so I think Josh Jacobs, again, not going to be playing. Then you have a couple of vets, Brandon Bolden and Amir Abdullah. I'd be pretty surprised if they play much, if at all. Bolden's a special teams guy. Abdullah, again, a vet. He's been around for a while. And then Jacob Johnson's a fullback. Britton Brown missed their most recent practice. Keep an eye on that. He could be out. They just signed Damian Williams, another vet. And then you just have Zamir White and McCormick. So if there's no Brown, then a guy like Zamir White, I could see getting a healthy amount of touches in this game. You got McCormick as well. So we'll keep an eye on some of this news. Again, I don't think we're going to see much of Abdullah, Bolden. We'll keep an eye on the news of Brown, but could be a relatively short-handed room. And then finally, the wide receiver position here for the Raiders. So starters, I would say it's, Devontae Adams, I expect to play, Myers, Renfro, and probably Keelan Cole. I think I would throw Keelan Cole in the mix too. They have Cole listed number 4, but like he played a good chunk for them last year. I don't know. I would say Adams, again, Myers, Renfro, and Cole would be the guys I don't think will play. Chris Lacey got banged up in practice. Don't know if he's going to be available. So then it's kind of similar. You're crossing off these guys. All right, no Adams, no Myers probably, no Renfro. Don't know if we see Cole. That leaves you what? Dorsett, Carter, Tucker, Wilkerson, Sims, right? Turner also a bit banged up, right? So, did they waive him? They did waive him. Okay, so Turner not even on the... So, they could be pretty short-handed too, right? Wilkerson, Tucker, Sims, Carter, Dorsett. So, kind of pretty similar to, right, the 49ers. So, it's like if you do the process of elimination, it's actually a relatively short-handed room. So, keep an eye on news, right? Maybe one of these teams ends up playing the starters. Like maybe the Raiders do end up playing some of their starters. Or maybe the 49ers do end up playing. Like we've seen that to these teams troll in the past. And then finally, tight ends for the Raiders. Not a ton that I love here. And I don't think we see a ton from Austin Hooper. If I had to play one, it probably would be Jacob Hollister, who's a good pass-catching tight end. He's been around for a while. He's kind of on the back end of the depth chart. So I could see him getting a fair amount of work in this game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. As always, appreciate you guys watching, putting up with my craziness. I don't know why you guys check in every day, because it's literally I'm just a crazy person that tilts for half the video. But for some reason, you guys continue to watch. So maybe we can avoid the experience tomorrow. Maybe. Take it anymore. Right? I cannot take it anymore. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. We'll see you all in the next video.